Hello everyone at DigiFest Manila 2024. Due to the weather and life and everything else and all flights getting canceled, I'm unfortunately able to join you guys today. However, I still wanted to make sure to give you guys the best value and walking you through how to leverage AI for your business. Now, to start off, I am Lai Lacaba. I started working remotely in 2011. I was a freelance writer. I still kind of am from time to time. I published my own books and was been featured everywhere else as well. I was starting off as a writer. I became a graphic artist. I became a video editor. I did everything that I could online because 2011 I was 15. So you guys can guess how old I am now. And I basically went through this journey of figuring out how to work remotely, how to hire remotely as well. I now have a team here in Cebu of more than 50 employees, probably more counting the people outside of Cebu. And a lot of what we do in TwixU is we hire, manage, and grow executive assistants for a lot of our clients. And in the last year, they've become AI enabled. So a lot of the case studies I'm going to walk you guys through today are from them. These are screenshots of their own ChatGPT or their own AI setup and how they're able to do it. Because I thought, hey, that would be the best way for you guys to see, like beyond the founder, beyond the business owners that you guys are, is that your executive assistants or your employees can run your AI system. So in the last 4 years as well, I've been a content creator. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, everywhere else. And last March, I got certified as an AI consultant. And technically, since December of 2022, I have been creating content on how to use AI. I have multiple courses. I've collaborated with a lot of different people. And I've used ChatGPT in my everyday life. I've honestly used ChatGPT to decide if I wanted to go on this trip or not, if I wanted to get last minute tickets for today, basically, and fly in today. And ChatGPT said, like, nah, just record, hence why we're doing this. So, how I've used ChatGPT so far in the last almost 2 years, because it came out in November of 2022. How I've used it so far is one, I've been using it to create a lot of templates for my business, for either email, documents, forms that we have. We've used it to upgrade our own business dashboard, and we've also used it to create a lot of content. A lot of the time, one YouTube video from me, I will have our video editor turn it into multiple pieces of content, and then my own social media team repurposes it and then basically so on and so forth. And at the end of this, I'm gonna walk you guys through how that actually looks like as a workflow from my actual team. We've also used it to create probably more than 74 standard operating procedures for business assets. So we've been able to automate a lot of the things within the business for it. We've created a new onboarding process for both our clients and for our EAs using AI. We've used it also to write difficult email for like difficult situations, basically for employees and for clients alike. And we use it for rewriting company policies. And I also, just for fun, asked questions about my astrology chart, just because I wanted to see, of course, the limits of AI. Now, this is essentially what I love talking about, is going around the world and talking about how people can scale remotely with AI. Now, I talk about like how to outsource into the Philippines. So you've seen I've done talks in Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. Last June, I was in Europe, basically speaking on a stage in Bulgaria for digital nomads on how to outsource and have your executive assistant or virtual assistant use AI. And of course, I've talked a lot locally here in the Philippines, and that is essentially my passion. Is I want to help Amagin Filipinos work from home. Because my own dad was a OFW, and I would only see him like once or twice a year if we were lucky. And I wanted to create this world, this vision of mine of having more remote jobs. That means that I had to teach a lot of foreigners how to be able to hire online. So that's essentially what I've been doing in the last 5 years. Now, are you guys ready to add AI in your business? Yes, yes. Okay, so essentially to start off, why should you learn AI or ChatGPT? And depending on, because unfortunately I can't see your guys' faces, I'll assume that most of you guys have already used AI or ChatGPT if you are here on this event. However, I'll breeze through these parts. So first is, AI is here. It's been here the last couple of years. I'm still surprised a lot of the time when I'm meeting new people and they've never heard or tried out AI. But the reality of it is just it's here. We've been using it on day to day. it's been sadly used on the malicious side of deepfakes and people using people's images for wrong things. And of course, it's also used on the good side of giving value basically to people and helping people out. It just makes your day to day easier. You can use it to learn any skill. You can create businesses and products. For me, I think I've created close to 5 or 6 products that's available on Gumroad. Just brainstorming basically using AI. You can use AI, of course, because most tools are sourced or inspired by ChatGPT. If you look at a lot of the tools that we use, or the AI tools that have come up since then, a lot of them are just using ChatGPT and as an API, or again, they're inspired by ChatGPT. They've been using like, oh, we can create this. Like, what if we make our own version of it? So it's good to learn the basics because then you can apply it to all of the other tools that you might be using for your business. And AI will honestly just keep getting better. When it came out first in November 2022, it just sucked. It straight up did not really pan out to how we imagined it in our heads, but right now it's getting closer and closer. And the more that we use it, basically, it'll just keep getting better and better. And honestly, why not? Why not go into AI? Because there's not really a reason not to, other than maybe just a little bit of fear of the unknown. But is that really a reason to not do it? Who's to say? So what ChatGPT or AI isn't, it's not going to replace you unless you let it. And this has been a fear, especially among freelancers and basically my own students as a career coach. There's been a fear of like, hey, am I going to be replaced by AI? But in reality, it's not going to replace you unless you let it. And this is a key thing to keep in mind. It's not going to replace you unless you let it. And it's not perfect and can make mistakes. If you guys remember months ago, there was the strawberry debate where one AI model will say there's 2 R's in strawberry and the other one will say 3. So it still can make mistakes. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It will not mend a broken heart. It's not a magic tool that solves all problems. It's not also an infallible source of information. It will still make mistakes. It will say like, hey, I grabbed it from this source on the internet. When you check, it's not actually real. So think of AI as a box that has all of the knowledge in the world and will always assume what it is that you want if you're not specific enough. So if you're not specific about what you want, the outcome or the output from ChatGPT, it'll assume certain things. So it's always better that, of course, you keep in mind that you as the prompter putting in the input into ChatGPT, you have to keep in mind like, hey, this is not probably an absolute source of information. And it's not made for making ethical decisions for you. Even though, like I said, I did try to have ChatGPT help me decide if I wanted to go to this event or not, if I wanted to pay for and rebook basically my ticket. It is not made for making ethical decisions because it is, again, it's just a box with all of the information and it will just assume what it is that you want based on what you ask it. So what it actually is, it is a tool. So this is a main thing that I want to make sure that for business owners, for agency owners, for entrepreneurs, for almost everyone in this today, it is a multiplier, not a substitute. So what that means is it multiplies who you are, and it's not supposed to just substitute you. So it multiplies what you do. So if you're a really good copywriter, ChatGPT is going to lean on that. If you're a really good graphic artist and you know how to prompt, ChatGPT is going to give you that. If you're someone, speaking of graphic artists, if you're someone who had, Adobe, Photoshop, all the good stuff, versus if you use Paint. If you are someone who's really good at that skill, even with Paint, you can probably make something really, really good because you're just multiplying the skill that you already have. That's what a tool does. So keep that in mind. It's supposed to multiply you, but not substitute you. It's not supposed to replace all of you because it can't. But the main thing to keep in mind is when you're using it, use it in that way. It is an AI-powered language model that can generate human-like text, as we already know. It can provide ideas, suggestions, recommendations on various topics. It can save time and effort in tasks such as research, job search, career change, and communication. And of course, it can help generate content for marketing, operations, and sales. And the things to do when it comes to using AI, first is you want to prime your ChatGPT thread. And I'll walk you guys through how to do this in a little bit. We will start separating tasks into threads. A lot of the time, I see people make this mistake all the time where they use just one ChatGPT conversation for everything, and then they start saying like, "Oh, ChatGPT doesn't work for me." But you want to think of it that way, where every chat that you create with ChatGPT is a task. is basically, let's say you're giving a task to your executive assistant or your team member, you're delegating one task, that should be one thread on ChatGPT. You also want to keep in mind, again, use it as a resource or a tool. Double, triple check. Don't ever use ChatGPT as your final draft. Use it as a first draft. Always customize and rewrite it. Be as specific as possible of what the outcome you need, and experiment a few times with how your prompts basically are written. So if you don't know already yet, you can edit prompts even as early as like 5 chats before, if the outcome that you had after that is not good enough. You can keep having ChatGPT rewrite things, or again, editing your own prompt as well. And key thing is to give it feedback on how it can be better. So a few don'ts is don't offer sensitive information. In 2XU, what we do for a lot of our clients is they'll have brackets of like name here. That way they're not submitting the actual information of a client or their clients into ChatGPT. Biggest reason, by the way, for this, why you don't want to do that is it gets stored basically in the training system that ChatGPT is using to train their AI. That means that information will get stuck there forever. Don't expect it to understand you. Don't use it to create original content. It can't. And don't trust what it says when it comes to gathering information. Don't give it harmful prompts, because again, you're training the AI for other people who are going to use it in the future. And that is essentially it. So before I move into the next, I hope you guys have understood a little bit of a good understanding of where AI is at and how to use it. Now, how do you actually create your first prompt? And I created this WOW method about 2 years ago when I started creating content on how to use AI. And it's basically just a good way to prime ChatGPT into what it is that you want and what it is that you need. So first, it's giving it who you are, what you do, and who you work with. So that's your W. Then you want to put in the outcome that you need from ChatGPT, asking it, are you ready? And then how you want it done. Now, the are you ready was a key thing that I found out later on, where it was good to ask ChatGPT, are you ready? Because then you're making sure that it understands what it is that you're asking for it. Now, what this would actually look like is you'll say, for example, for me, I am an AI consultant for coaches and consultants for their operations and marketing and implementing AI in their business. So that is the who I am, what I do, and who I work with. And then the outcome that I need is I needed to act as an expert project manager, so on and so forth. So that's the output specific role, act as their specialty. And then asking it again, are you ready? And then finally, giving it the how of I need your responses to be straight to the point and with action steps if applicable. So that is basically being specific on what you want to see from ChatGPT. Again, it's a key thing, because it will always just assume what it is that you're asking for if you're not specific enough. So again, this is basically the output for it. So it will always give you what it assumes, depending on how specific you are with your instructions, it'll give you that. So few best prompting exercises: more words or context, better answers, use examples, focus on a task, add a tone. You can say, sound like a very happy elementary teacher to see their students. So then that's going to be the tone for ChatGPT. So whatever that looks like for you, whatever makes sense for what you're creating, you can add a tone. Again, keep editing the prompt, use prompt chaining, and save links of your threads in a sheet or database. So something that ChatGPT still unfortunately doesn't have until now, unless you guys are using Google extensions, is it doesn't have a list of all of the prompts they've used. So Sally, sometimes, like a lot of times for me, before I started figuring this out, is I would have multiple of the same ChatGPT chat of different parts, because I didn't know where the last one went. So it's always good to have a database for yourself of like where all of your different ChatGPT, I call it, AI assistants are at. So then it's easy for you to find and click on the link on where that thread is. Now, if you've used AI, but it doesn't seem to work, it's just a little bit frustrating, you're not sure why, I've kind of cracked it to a few things. So first is you're still doing it yourself. As a business owner, you should be focused on basically delegating this as far as you can and not having to figure this out yourself. And within 2XU, within the month that ChatGPT came out, we had this little challenge where every single day people would be asked to send examples of how they use ChatGPT that day, because I realized that it doesn't matter if I knew how to use ChatGPT if our EAs did it. So you want to think of it this way, of like delegating it to your assistant, and then your assistant encouraging your managers, and then your doers, your employees, basically, to use it as a tool. So this is kind of the chain of command when it comes to learning AI, and something that I do encourage a lot of our own clients even to be able to do. Next is you just basically just using it as a distraction. You're not really having a core focus on why you're using AI or ChatGPT. You're adding but not eliminating. So this is something I've seen a lot of business owners do, is they keep adding things on their plate instead of eliminating, using AI to eliminate a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting, is they're adding more things to their plate. There's also the quality control of like, oh, AI just gives all this generic social media captions, just gives me X, Y, and Z. It's because you're not doing quality control on making sure that it actually is the output that you want, and you're not editing it before you actually post it on social media. And there's also the over reliance, and I've seen this on the other side where people have stopped thinking for themselves and just used AI for the whole thing. And there's also signing up for every tool. And again, you're adding things onto your, paying for more tools instead of eliminating and putting it into one central place. And honestly, some people just don't know how to use it. And it'll come with time, it'll come with experience, it'll come with attending events just like this one, where you start learning how to actually maximize using AI or ChatGPT. So now I'm finally going to go into the use cases for AI in business, especially for our clients in 2XU, as well as for my AI consulting clients. So first one is basically AI in operations, which is creating standard operating procedures. I already gave this an example earlier. This is from one of our clients, the Wall Planning Group in Australia, where they just use ChatGPT all the time to refine their SOPs, to capture the processes that they have. So for example, for this one, this was an example basically when we were playing around of like, hey, what if it's a portfolio item for an SOP? Basically, this is the way that what we would usually use or find leads. It'll go ahead and create that example of a standard operating procedure. And we just kept doing this ourselves internally in 2XU over and over again when it came to updating our SOPs or creating it from scratch, as well as all of our EAs in 2XU are also trained on how to do this. Another way you can use ChatGPT or AI in operations is, this is from one of our clients, Becoming Unstuckable, also based in Australia, where they were creating their business dashboard. So basically, we walked through their EA on how to grab what data their client wanted to see on a business dashboard, and then also how to be able to get the formula from it. So it was two sides of kind of the same train of thought, where what would the client need for it, as well as what would be the data that they would need. Now, these obviously are the ones for 2XU because we were doing a live training with them, but this was basically one of the processes that we walked them through. Now, another way that you can use AI in operations is you can use it to map out team role and responsibilities. And for me, myself, as a business owner, this was something that took me a while to kind of figure out, like, what would be a role and responsibilities look like as I start hiring managers within the business. So then I went through ChatGPT. I asked, like, hey, break down our client success manager role. What does that look like? Break down our REA success manager. What would that look like? What would be this one? Because we just promoted our first ever head of operations in 2XU. What would be their responsibility based on what ChatGPT understand and knew of the other roles that we had in the business. So I have used ChatGPT to the max when it comes to this, because a lot of time as a 29 business owner, who just kind of started this business when I was 25. It's kind of just been figuring out as I go. So this has been super helpful, kind of having ChatGPT as my own business coach. Next is using AI in sales. Now, first one is creating the ideal client persona. And this is something that I've taught so many people on how to do, not just for sales. Of course, it's also applicable in marketing. Is a lot of the time when we're creating content, when we're creating sales materials, when we're creating the assets in our business, is we don't really have a target person in mind. And what I had ChatGPT do is I had a chain of prompts basically on how to create your persona for your business. And now I just asked ChatGPT, who is 2XU's ideal client? Make it specific. It gives me essentially what it remembers from me going through that process with it. So for your team, for your assistant, for anyone else in your business, they can go ahead and do this process as well. Is they can just go ahead and ask ChatGPT, hey, I'm creating this asset basically for the business. If this is the ideal client, what would be, break things down of what are things I can create and how I can make sure that it resonates with them. So it gives you a little bit of an oomph when it comes to creating your assets within your business, because it's all centered around your ideal client persona. Next is automating email outreach. Now, this is coming from a sister company of ours, which is we lovingly call them ICO, but they're really AI called Outreach, and they use multiple tools here. They use Clay to be able to grab information from people and be able to run it through kind of a spreadsheet like, but it's all AI generated. So it'll grab, for example, someone's LinkedIn profile, look through that, create a summary, and then creating an email customized through their LinkedIn summary to be able to hey, this is, I saw that you are this is an actual example. I saw that you are a sales coach, for example, for 2XU. Did you know that a executive assistant can help you when it comes to managing your calendar, making sure to follow up with prospects, and of course, updating your CRM? So it's really customized to who they are and what they do, and as well as how our company specifically in this example can help. So it gives that extra, again, personalization when it comes to using AI in sales. And they're using make.com as well to send out those emails, to track them, to get every single number and be able to put it into their dashboard. So this is kind of one of the really cool things that is developing right now when it comes to sales and cold outreach in general, is you can just use AI to customize and personalize every single thing that a potential client or potential customer will be able to see. Next is, of course, again, you can use it to create custom outreach email. So for example, for this, I was writing out the quote unquote breakup email for, let's say someone has not responded to a couple of our emails. Basically, this is tailored for entrepreneurs or consultants. And it's basically like, hey, I know you're probably busy, just reminding you this is what 2XU can do, so on and so forth. So it gives just that extra example of hey, this is how we can help based on what your business is about. So it's not anymore the general emails that you'll probably receive. It's actually custom to who you are and what you do. Now into AI in marketing, and this is the thing that I've been using AI for a lot in last couple of years now, is first, I use it a lot when it comes to creating my content calendar. So for YouTube, I always try to have a theme every single month that I do. So I asked ChatGPT what would be the week by week videos from that. And of course, you can use it to the minute day-to-day basically of how you're going to put things into social media. You can also use it, of course, for writing social media captions. So for example, for one of our clients in the UK, Tally Ho Cycle Tours, this is an actual example from their executive assistant, where it's just writing caption for video, basically, showing the riders exploring the sights of London in long traffic-free bike lanes. So it just breaks down how to do it, and you can see that she updates essentially each part to make it really fit to who their client is, who their business is, basically the tone of voice, and basically keep refining that over and over. And also, again, refining and getting feedback for social media captions. So you can even do the reverse, where you give ChatGPT hey, this is the what I'm going to post, can you give me feedback and how can I make this better? So that's a cool thing that you can, of course, use ChatGPT for. Now, I'll walk you through my content repurposing process, and this has saved me and my team so much time and money as well. Is what my assistant would do, because it'll be starting from her, is she'll use a Google extension called YouTube Summary with ChatGPT that's connected already to YouTube. It'll then generate the transcription of my video, and then she'll use a tool called Task A to generate the article and the social media copy. So it basically will create the article that's usually posted on my LinkedIn, and you guys can check that out. It's also then used to repurpose it into smaller pieces of content. So what that actually would look like is our AI-powered content machine within 2XU is we have the long-form content, whether that's a YouTube video, probably YouTube video, one of our podcasts, our Scale U podcast, and our blog posts. Then it's convert it into maybe short videos with Opus AI. One of the things we're currently experimenting with is from our blog posts. What if we turn into an AI generated video? We're not there yet. I know there's a lot of people on this today basically talking who's probably done it already, but we're still experimenting of what makes sense for the brand. But you can also convert from blog to video. But then for us, and we repurpose it, we shorten it with Opus AI. Then we create a carousel post out of it. We use Canva and TaskAid to be able to break down, like, hey, break this down into 10 images basically, that we can then post into Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere else. Then it created into a graphic post, just one single graphic post. And then it's reposted and putting it everywhere else. So that's kind of how our content machine in 2XU looks like. And what it practically looks like is basically this. We have the YouTube video, it gets created into graphic, it gets put into Medium, LinkedIn, websites basically of ours. It becomes a newsletter as well. We have the mini videos basic after that. So this is essentially what it can keep looking like for you in your business as you guys start using AI and stacking AI. And I'm using content and marketing as a really good example, as a very visual example, mostly because for you can see it versus like if I said like, hey, we can create 74 setup and procedures, it'll kind of be just all text versus this like, hey, you can see it visually how you can stack up AI so it can actually be a leverage for your business rather than a distraction, rather than adding things into your plate. Now, how do you actually make AI work in your business? So first is tracking your recurring tasks. Look at what are the daily, weekly, monthly things. You want to create systems out of it. You want to create automations out of it. Then you want to create templates out of it. So you want to make sure that it's out of your head how these recurring tasks look like, and giving it to your executive assistant, your other employees to figure out how to automate it. Next is, again, you want to eliminate, not add, take things off of your plate instead of adding things. And again, having AI is less a distraction. So you want to centralize your tools into one place. You want to have, for me at least, I do it monthly because AI is really, really fast, where I look at all the subscriptions that we have and I eliminate any that doesn't make sense anymore or is not, or taking us basically away from the main tools that we use anyway. And again, don't swept up by the trending tools. Actually test it out and actually play with it. See if it makes sense for your business. And again, multiply yourself, not substitute. Have your team use AI so you're multiplying the value that you're creating within your business, and document the outcomes. And this is a key thing. So you want to document how it looked like before and how it looked like after, once you actually started using AI for your business. Now, this is the vision that I see in the world: is people aren't replaced by AI, they're empowered by AI. Their value and what they do is multiplied by AI and what it is that they do. And essentially getting to the point where the world it not revolves with AI, but also just like is empowered, is a little bit more, again, multiplying the value they're creating in the world using AI. So this is essentially how I see it. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope that helped. I know you guys can't ask me anything just because I'm doing this virtually and online, but feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere else. You can ask me questions there. And for you guys who are watching this as a YouTube video, of course, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below if you have any questions for me, because then here I can actually answer them. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!